Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm your host with the most I'm Daddy, aka Short. Maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Listen, it's another brand new episode of the week with Lesego M, man. I didn't record any episodes yesterday, man. I do beg your pardon. And yeah, man, I think we have a lot to unpack in just 15 minutes. We're recording 2 episodes a day now. Back to that routine, and I think we do have a lot to talk about. Firstly, the elections. I think for the people who are part of that entire thing, man, who represented, and I really thought Uguti EFF was going to like be the leading party, but to my surprise, ANC still remains to be our. So they're speaking about coalition and stuff. I don't know. I haven't followed up on that, but I'm so uninterested in what ANC is about to do and what the DA and the ANC is about to do. I'm so uninterested in those. But also, I'm like, maybe let's engage in the podcast, speak about it, and just get different perspective and why this should matter to me. You know what I mean? So, I think a good place to start, alright, I don't know where it all went wrong, because I saw, was it a tweet? I'm not sure if it was a tweet or I think it was a meme where they were saying that Julius is people, or where Julius is from. People didn't vote for him there because the political party that's leading there, it's not EFM. I think it's MK or ANC. I don't know. Please do correct me if I'm mistaken on that. Obviously, this episode I'm recording, nothing has been planned in, no research has been done. This is a freestyle episode, by the way. So yeah, so there was that meme that I was talking about that was circulating on the internet, and they were saying that Julius Malema, every province is voting for their people. KZN voted for MK and IFP, and ANC, it was heavily voted for in the Eastern Cape. You look at people like Nelson Mandela, those people are from the Eastern Cape. So I think the deep roots and to refuse to let go of ANC, I think it's much harder for the people of Eastern Cape, right? And I've seen clips of older people as well going out on the internet, and I think I must say, Wuti, with seeing all that was going on to the internet, I'm like, where do you think we had it wrong? Or where did the EFF get it wrong? You know what I mean? Because I think, first and foremost, let me just say, I'm a big fan of Dr. Ndlozi. I think the points that he makes, even Julius, I feel like sometimes the one person that is self-sabotaging the political party is Julius Malema to a degree. So, but I'm still heavily saying that, I don't know for sure what went wrong, why people continue to vote for the ANC. I don't know. So at the same time, I'm like, what's the plan now? What's the plan? Do we stick around? Do we? And even sorry to say, what's the plan? I'm like, what happened to the people and the independent candidate? What happened to Eugene Koza? Because you remember there was a time where the podcast where they were going out asking for signatures to make it to, I think it was regional or national, I don't know. You do correct me on the comment section. I don't know if it's Eugene Koza and McG, but they were doing that on the side. It wasn't the podcast is standing with Eugene to understand, but they were saying, personally as McG, we need someone new, and Eugene is the suited candidate, and we are going to vouch for him and whoever that knows McG and the signatures and Doni is going to. But I feel like with even signatures as well, how does the signature thing work? You get a signature. Does it mean when you got a signature, you got a vote from that person? What does it mean? I think maybe if we can unpack that, because if you got those signatures that got you to from point A to point B, I'm like, okay, like what's the next step whenever you get those signatures? So I'm not really into politics, so like I'm not clued up as to like what's the protocol, the pros and cons as to like how to go from signatures to election to ballots and like I don't know how it works. If there is someone who is familiar with the process, please let me know in the comment section. I'm your host at the most of him the report, aka she just saw that maybe you might get a chance to call me daddy like I wrote episode 114, I believe. So yeah, that's what I had in my mind for today. And I'm like, if you do have that breakdown for us, do comment in the comment section, and please do not forget to follow, like, and subscribe to get a notification for each and every time we drop a new episode. So yeah, man, it's a Tuesday morning. Do let me know what you think about today's segment of Backroom Convos. So yeah, man, for people who just joined us, I was just talking about the process, the independent candidate process, the signatures, and how does that make it to the election? Does it mean when you have a signature, you have a vote of confidence from someone? Like, how does it work? And because I've also seen that UAT, like all these smaller parties, ATM, they got one seat in parliament, right? They got one seat, and I'm like, I didn't see even one independent candidate in that list. But my money, they are right at the bottom. And I'm like, okay, like what has to be done now? Because now, how many people were they supposed to get? I know, like there were people out there that were saying, they were actually breaking down in the internet, they're breaking down the process of the independent, the independent candidate, So I don't know now where do they stand and how do they go about representing people. And I think from where I sit, I was looking at someone's comment. He was saying, to qualify for those things, so you can start your own political party and qualify to register, like I think 5K, I think it's 5K nationally, 200 regionally, and 500, I don't know, the 500 this way, I think it's for registration of the political party. And I'm like, next year we are going to have a lot of those, because this year I get it was just not next year, man. The next election we are going to have a lot of independent candidates coming through because of that. And like the question then becomes, like, what's the strategy for the independent candidates? Like, do they start building from now? Because I understand also now there wasn't really enough time for the independent candidates, so there wasn't really enough time for them to prepare and have like a strategic approach to their campaign, and the time was too short. So I think now, having to see what they didn't make it, it's time for them to go back to the drawing board and see how they plan around making it a success for the next election. And I think also, shout out to the EFF, by the way. They opened a hospital, I forgot in which place, I think in Johannesburg, I forgot the name of the place. They opened up a hospital there, and it's going to be operating 24 hours after I think the parliament rejected their what, I don't know what they call it. So they did say to parliament, they asked for clinics to be open 24 hours, and the bill was rejected by parliament and the president, if I'm not mistaken. So do correct me on the comment section if you know about that. Let's have you on the podcast and discuss it more and further. Let's discuss it further with you on the podcast. So yeah, man, shout out to the people in Argentina. I know the podcast is speaking in Argentina. It's speaking in different places, and I think we are strongly working towards getting more guests, towards improving and like making this podcast a place where everybody wants to like come through and listen to the podcast episodes as well. But I'm also familiar with the fact that with audio it's tricky to have a high amount of people coming through, because obviously people are more prone to listen or more prone to watch podcasts that have visuals to them as opposed to like the audio podcast. It's not simple, but I do understand as well, and I am in a way working toward introducing the video podcast, if I may say so. I'm working towards doing that because I know what we stand to gain there, and I think the process also, I think it's telling me something good, like I'm pushing to get A, B and C, the camera, then don't do for the podcast, and it doesn't happen at the timing in like I think at this point it's more about God's timing. So I think we'll get to a point where we release episodes that we like. There's video, there's planning behind it. There's I think there's just a lot that goes behind visuals, the video podcast. There's just so much that goes to it, editing, and I get the software that do things there, and I'm like, oh okay, like what are we to do now? What are we to do now? Are we like I think it's easier to plan to say, okay, like we're releasing episode 200 now, we're releasing episodes 150. We're like, okay, like it's a new platform for the next 50 episodes, or do we work on copywriting and figuring out on how to like optimize and make our content better and get new audience, and like those things we need to like consistently work on. So I think on the audio, I'm also like learning a thing or two about audio and the voice. You need to get the lip rolling, and if you can listen to some of the episodes that we had in the past, and now you'd hear I've made an adjustment to how I approach certain episodes, how I speak, how I present myself. I think that is also a thing that I'm working on, like individually, that it's audible, like it's ear candies when I'm talking. It's like, oh, this guy has a radio voice, you know what I mean? So I think with that being said, man, I know I wasn't supposed to be talking about myself, but there I go, speaking about myself again. So yeah, man, we are working on getting guests for sure. I won't let you know now who's coming to the next episode or who we are planning on getting on the episode, because we don't have anybody at the moment who is coming in the podcast. But obviously the strategy is to reach more people, to engage with more people, to network with more people. So man, stay tuned, man. Appreciate the love from all of you, the people that are listening. I know like locally not a lot of people listen to us, but internationally you guys are showing us love, creating love, and we appreciate it. I think without any waste of time, man, I think let's rather do a book of the day, not a book of the day, word of the day, rather than the book of the day, because I didn't get to research on the book of the day, and I think we'll have more authors as well. And I'm thinking of also having back Ulianda Kabela as well, because he's one of the people that I think now he's part of Miss Earth South Africa. Yes, Miss Earth South Africa. So if we can also have that, or have her, in the show, he's one of the I don't know what you call them in the pageant terms, but he's one of the candidates. Can I just say candidate or contestant? She is one of the contestants within Miss World or Miss Earth South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. She's one of the contestants there. I don't know if we should have a break. Do let me know in the comment section. What do you think we should do as a podcast? What do you think about the new website? Did you take a look at it, and what do you think? Is it a 10? Is it a 5? Is it a 2? Do let me know in the comment section. So yeah, for the people who want to like strictly listen to the podcast episode on our website, please do so on backroomconvos.com. backroomconvos.com. I repeat, Backroom Convos. So for those of you who want to send us emails for sponsorship, do not forget to follow, subscribe to get notification also when we drop a new episode. So for the email when you want to send for sponsorships and comments or inquiries, please email lesego@backroomconvos.com. I repeat, it's lesego@backroomconvos.com. lesego@backroomconvos.com. Please do not forget to follow, like, subscribe to get a notification for each and every day we drop a new episode. Word of the day: use what you have until what you have brings you what you want. I'm your host at the most, Lesego M, report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Have a lovely day. Cheers.